Hello and welcome to the Art of Artisan. Today we are playing Tribal. So Tribal is this idea where you take cards that benefits warriors and cards that benefit angels and cards that benefit snakes or whatever, and you stick all of those payoff cards in a deck with changelings. Now this one's not super all in. There's potentially a mono black build that would be more all in on that idea. But we are playing two very different payoffs for changelings here. So first of all is the Nazgul. You guys have seen it on the channel before. It's strong, puts a counter on every wraith we control. So instead of playing control to make up for the fact that we don't really do anything good on turns 1 and 2, we're actually going to play creatures that are wraiths to make up for Nazgul being nothing happening until turn 3. So now we can actually start developing our board before Nazgul start coming down, which is a fantastic idea here. It's pretty strong. We've also got March from the Black Gate. Now this card is really hard to realize how good it is with changelings until you realize that both armies and orcs are changelings. So, the army, anyways. When March of the Black Gate enters the battlefield, and whenever an army we control attacks, amass orcs 1. And amassing means put a +1/+1 counter on target army you control, unless you don't control an army, in which case you make 1. What this ends up becoming is whenever a changeling you control attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target changeling you control. It can even target itself. So turn 1, you can play a changeling outcast. Turn 2, play March from the Black Gate, and swing with the changeling outcast as a 3/3. Then next turn it'll swing as a 4/4, and it will keep getting bigger as an unblockable creature. So March from the Black Gate, super good with changelings, and you can spread counters around, so even if we're attacking with Guardian Gladewalker and Universal Automaton and Changeling Outcast, we can just start dumping all the counters onto the Outcast. And Nazgul's also pumping it up, so you can see how this deck can deal a lot of unblockable damage. But we are not super fast. We're not a hyper aggro deck. We're relying a lot on synergy and growing threats. So we've got a fair amount of removal. Go for the Throat, Power Word Kill, 4 copies of Golem's Bite. It's probably incorrect to be running 4 copies of this, but it's too cute in the deck. We can exile it from the graveyard to pump up all our creatures for each Nazgul we have. So I'm playing it. Then rounding things out, we've got a little bit of card draw in the form of Painful Bond, which is quite painful in our deck, but we needed a little bit of card draw for a curve that ends pretty much at 2 and then the Nazgul. And lastly, we have Winding Constrictor. Winding Constrictor effectively is a Hardened Scales effect. It's a 2/3 for 2, which is pretty solid. It has the downside of not being a changeling, so it's not working super well with all our other synergies, except almost all of our synergies are putting +1/+1 counters on our changelings. So this doubles the effect of all those. It can be awkward when we don't really have much going on to have Winding Constrictor, so it's only a 2 of in the deck, because drawing multiple, it's like, yay, I have a Changeling Outcast and 2 Constrictors, and they're not doing anything. So I only want to have 1 per game usually, so that's why I'm running 2 of those. It also works with Guardian Gladewalker, so there's a fair amount of synergy here. Mana base, fairly simple. Witherbloom Campus is a 2 of, because it's usually not great in multiples, and I want usually shoot around 4 dual lands for the average 2-color deck. And that's it. That's Tribal. It's a simple deck we're going to be beating down with big changelings. Let's see how big we can get them. Game number 1 versus Captain Laser. And our opening hand is Changeling into Nazgul. That is a keepable hand. And it's going to make a pretty large unblockable creature. Number 1 change that I'd make to this deck if I wasn't doing it in Artisan, I'd add Coco to the deck. That's the obvious addition. Everybody's been doing Coco with Nazgul. It's super good with Nazgul. But it's a corny deck. And you'd have to actually cut some of the changelings to really fit Coco, and then March from the Black Gate would be a little bit more questionable without as many changelings. So I'm happy with the deck as it is, as a budget deck. Not too much I'd change. I'd probably actually be cutting removal to run Coco and just be a less balanced deck. Just kind of all in on hoping things work out. Okay. I could remove something, or I could Nazgul. Nazgul seems like the cooler play. The ring tempts me. I choose Guardian Gladewalker. Everything gets pumped. And we are willing to trade the Guardian Gladewalker here. Our opponent seems kind of built around Firebrand Archer, if it's in their deck. So, this is probably like a Dreadhorde Arcanist or a Young Pyromancer claim to... Yeah, it's actually Rakdos Burn. It's straight up Rakdos Burn. But regardless, I was pretty sure our opponent was built around Firebrand Archer to some degree, and they would not trade with us. Okay, Nazgul down. We have removal for now, and a removal spell held up. Goodbye, Firebrand Archer. We swing in for 5. Our opponent's life total is pretty low. They haven't even, played any shock lands. We're putting them down to 8. Got removal held up for the next threat. I think we win the race here. Okay, they're understanding. They need to make the game go a little bit longer. They cannot race us. Okay, my turn. Forest. So the question is, do we Golem's Bite to get further down the ring? Or do we Scry with Witherbloom Campus? I think we save Golem's Bite, because if we get a Nazgul down, it's worth a lot more. The game's probably not long enough for that to matter. I probably should have just let the ring tempt us there. And I could have discarded Golem's Bite and still had one in the graveyard. Okay, resolves. Opponent casts a spell. Alright, they're going to try and drain us. We will immediately Golem's Bite their Firebrand Archer, and now I'm really wishing I had have used this. Because I have exactly 4 mana, and I cannot Witherbloom Campus. I did not think things through. Okay, removal spell held up. We've got lethal next turn via Golem's Bite. Yeah, you're going to be the Ring Bearer. Hello. Thank you. So we swing in for 3 here. Opponent's down to 5. Painful Bond, not a good idea against a burn deck. And our opponent needs... they could have just, a chain of, light up the stage and to skewer the critics. Okay, they no longer have enough mana to kill us, I think. They have to start removing creatures. They go for the Gladewalker, which is higher damage creature. However, the Nazgul is going to pump itself up via Golem's Bite, so I'm not sure that was the right play for them. So we'll Golem's Bite. The ring tempts me. Nazgul is now very hard to kill, unless they have removal right here. No, they're just holding up Blood Token. Okay, now Nazgul can swing in. Let us make a little bit more decision based on what we draw. We hit a Changeling Outcast. Holding up Power Word Kill versus playing Changeling Outcast. I think we just hold up Power Word Kill. I don't think our opponent's going to remove our Nazgul very easily. And even if they do, that's probably 2 burn spells not going at our face, and that buys us a lot of time to do things. Oh, are they going for him? Oh, Deadly Dispute. Okay. Opponent needs to draw really well here. They need land, burn spell. Or maybe they'd run Obliterating Bolt or some I guess if they're running Bump in the Night, they might have And these blood token things, they might have self-discard. Oh, they're draining our life. Yeah, that does let them live. No, it doesn't, because Golem's Bite lets us finish the ring. And with the ring finished, they take 3 damage when we hit them. Yep. Alright, Golem's Bite. Ring tempts me. And opponent loses. Okay, that was a good run for the first game. Nazgul too strong, and we are in Platinum. Way to go, Nazgul. On to game number 2. Game number 2. Finally in Platinum. I literally like only play ranked for testing decks and making videos. So spend a lot of time not even at Platinum yet. This is a very sketchy hand, especially with us on the play instead of the draw. So we're going to have to mulligan it, despite it being a very pretty hand. This is keepable. So the big question is, are we going to draw our lands? And I think we don't rely on that because our game plan is just super strong even if we ditch the Changeling Automaton. So why risk it when you already have something that's good enough? Like, if our hand were bad, I'd be more willing to risk and like hope I draw land, but double Nazgul with Changeling Outcast down is strong enough to win games. Our opponent swings in with the DRC. That's a Masked Vandal. Not super great right now. If our opponent's playing the ring, this is an answer to the ring. Changeling Outcast gets a counter. I gets the ring. Doesn't actually matter because it can't be blocked, but I'm about to move the ring again with the second Nazgul. I guess I should have put it on the Nazgul in case our opponent counters our second Nazgul. Yeah, I didn't think that all the way through. No movement from the opponent. Do we pre-combat Nazgul? I think we hesitate here. So 2 mana is probably a make disappear sort of card. This is a good time to swing in. Like, next turn I can play around that with the second Nazgul, and if I play the Masked Vandal, it gets strong from me playing the second Nazgul. So I'm just going to swing in for now. See what the opponent does. It may very well be that I'm wrong, and I should just play Nazgul there to maximize my damage, but my opponent's not putting a ton of pressure on me yet. And they very obviously made a decision before they held up their mana. They took a while to make that decision to pass the turn to me. Oh. Okay, so they were holding up something, but I'm not sure why you do that in response. Because if you were holding up something else, now I feel safe to just like play another thing if I had one. Yeah, they are an Arclight Phoenix deck. They're probably going to try and chain together stuff to play their Arclights, but I think our deck is just better, even if they're going off. Like, I'd be happy if they just played 3 spells and got back 2 Arclight Phoenixes. I'd be like, sick. Now you're tapped out. I'm safe to go Nazgul. All right. Do they have a counterspell for my Nazgul? Ring tempts me. They allow the ring to tempt me. I'm going to put it, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll put it on Masked Vandal because it's the creature I am most okay with my opponent killing. And I swing in. So that way I can consistently get this draw discard effect. I'll discard a forest. Thank you very much. What does opponent have? They've got to have something, but if they had like removal, why wouldn't they just kill the Nazgul in response to its ETB? I'm not sure what... I guess opponent's just holding Otherworldly Gaze in hand to dig deeper. I'm not sure what's going on here. Fading Hopes, my Changeling Outcast. Okay. That's a fair play. They're probably just holding up Otherworldly Gaze now. And I am confident enough of that. Oh, they just do it. I was trying to decide if I should play this or continue playing around Make Disappear, but opponent just decided to play Otherworldly Gaze immediately. I guess they wanted to pump up their ledger. Oh, they needed to pump up their ledger shredder so that it survived. That makes sense. That's actually kind of nice for us. But that was the right play for the opponent. It just lines up nicely for us. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have played it anyways. Ledger Shredder just triggers so much. It's ridiculous. All right, a third Nazgul here is just pretty much game over if our opponent taps out. I don't think they're playing too much interaction based on what we've seen from their deck so far. The only interactive spell we've seen is Fading Hope. They probably have Spell Pierces, but probably not counter spells that could hit a creature. So if I draw a Nazgul, I'm just slamming. Pillar of Flame. They do not like our Changeling Outcast, and they want their Phoenixes back. Wait, is that all 4? Did opponent hit all 4 Phoenixes? Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. How does that happen? Opponent, teach me your ways. What the heck? Okay, alright. If Masked Vandal hits instant speed removal off of this draw trigger, oh no, we're going to be 1 damage off. And we didn't hit it. Opponent with the quadruple Phoenix. Did they even scry a single time? Did they ever scry? They put a card back into their deck with Expressive Iteration. They used 1 Fading Hope to scry. That's it. That's all. In the top half of their deck, they hit all 4 Phoenixes. Oh, well, we're dead. That's rough luck, though. I think we win this game. So much more than that. That was incredibly unlikely. Like, 1 less Phoenix, and we would be surviving this turn. We'd be at 11 life, and they could only deal 10. Well, I guess they're getting back their Phoenix. So we would have died this turn even if they only had 3. But still, having 3 is above average for being less than halfway through their deck. That was absolutely insane. Wow. Well, the Magic Gods have dictated that we will not get a 5-0 with this deck. So be it. On to game 3. Alrighty, game number 3. To make up for us losing to the Phoenix player with all 4, give us all 9 Nazguls this game deck. Come on. It's only fair. That is 0 Nazgul. It is a March from the Black Gate hand. Alright, we haven't really done much with March from the Black Gate yet. We don't get a turn 1 Changeling Outcast, which makes this a little bit weaker. But it still should be cool. Okay, we are racing. Our opponent is Goblins. A removal spell would be really nice right now. What is our best play here? I think just playing March from the Black Gate on its own is fine enough. The Orc can start pumping things up. If we draw a land, we can Changeling Outcast and Guardian Gladewalker, and the Orc can put counters wherever we so desire. Even if our opponent plays like a 3-power Goblin or something, we're going to make sure our army is big enough to get around it. That's a land. Sweet. So we Gladewalker, because it's the most damage immediately. Our opponent is threatening Muxus next turn. They could have Muxus next turn. Maybe I should have Painful Bonded to find Golem's Bite to kill the Skirk Prospector. That could be the right play here. We're going to pump the Outcast. Alright, show us the turn 3 Muxus opponent. They have it. They actually have it. I can just see it in their, right there in Nahiri's eyes. They have Muxus. Okay, no, they don't. Okay, we're good. I was really scared there for a second. Ooh. Did they cast that this turn? They do not. Okay. So now, we're going to play Masked Vandals post-combat and potentially exile their treasure token, which might actually do something. I think we Painful Bond first. No. Okay, we're going to swing. Is there anything we'd want to play pre-combat? Got 4 mana this turn. No. Yeah, we'd have 2 mana left over. Oh, March from the Black Gate. If we find March from the Black Gate, that's worth playing. We're going to take a little damage here, but oh well. Okay, ouch. We now swing in with everything. March from the Black Gate triggers 3 times. We'll put a counter on the Gladewalker. We'll put a counter on the Army. And we'll put a counter on the Gladewalker. And for good measure, do we do this pre-combat? Before, I know, we'll save Golem's Bite for later. Alright, so they get hit. Now, we have nothing in our graveyard. Ugh. Do we Masked Vandal, put on as much pressure as possible, or do we Golem's Bite to slow the opponent down? It's mana inefficient, but I think this is the right play. We gotta get rid of that Snoop. Snoop is just a little too scary here. They're gonna sack it to Skirk Prospector, because why not? I mean, it's not gonna do anything for them. Our turn. Their turn. Goblin Chieftain makes their team fairly large, but we'll just be larger than them. I'm not too scared of what they might do here, because, like, our Masked Vandals can block 2/2s for days, and if they swing in, they're only hitting us for 8, and then we put up multiple blockers, and we swing in for lethal on the backswing. Right now, we're threatening a lot of damage. If they swing in, they're dead. Which is not where I think most Goblin players are used to being. Most of them like to be the aggro. I mean, haste is kind of useless unless you're the aggro. Alright, how hard do we swing in here? I think fairly hard. I think we swing in with everything. And we put 1 counter on each creature. 1 counter on this, so now it takes, if they double block it, they lose 2 creatures. Same with that, and then might as well get our extra damage through with the Changeling Outcast. And then we see what opponent does. They block with Wily Goblin. That's it. Alright. Opponent is saying they're going to kill us this turn, which means they might have another Goblin Chieftain or something. Maybe they're going to go Muxus. They might have Muxus in hand. They could always have Muxus in hand. But we're going to put up blockers. They're blockers that cost us 1 life to play, but probably save us more than 1 life on defense. And it also makes it harder for our opponent to just, like, kill Changeling Outcast, although I wouldn't expect them to have that. I wouldn't expect the Goblins player to be playing much removal. Prospectors start sacking things. Cranko. That doesn't do it. That doesn't win our opponent the game. No, unless... Oh no, are they going to cast something else? They don't. Alright, we win. Changeling Outcast for the win. Is there anything that could go wrong here? think we just attack with the Changeling Outcast. Pump itself up. Would you like to block it? You can't. And that's the game. Oh man. Goblins players are always scary. Muxus is always just around the corner. When your opponent's threatening a turn 3-1, it's so scary. But we got him. Alright, let's get to the next game. Okay. Next game. Oh, did I update the record? I did. Did I update the record? I have no idea how many games I've played, guys. I have no idea. This could be game 4. It could be game 3. It could be game 5. Well, we may end up with a bonus game, because I'm counting this as game 4. This is a March from the Black Gate nut draw, kind of. We're on the play. We're just going to go Changeling Outcast into March from the Black Gate, put our opponent to the test. We've got removal, so that will help us if we're racing them. We've got Universal Automaton, which is nice. Actually, do we lead with the Automaton? Yes. I think it's going to be big enough that our opponent can't stop it, and Changeling Outcast will give us reach later in the game. So we want this to be the thing that deals the damage now and gets removed, and then this to be the thing that sticks afterwards. Because unblockable isn't super useful quite yet. Okay. Do I march from the Black Gate now? Yes, I do. March from the Black Gate. Show me the Spell Pierce opponent. Or the Cut Down. Spell Pierce, Cut Down, something like that. Make me regret playing this card. Okay. It's now a 2-2. They cut it down, and we get no value out of this. Or Fatal Push. Fatal Push works too. Alright. Next turn we play a Changeling Outcast and feel bad. Or we maybe play a Go for the Throat. Nope. Opponent's not doing anything to let us do that. Jungle Hollow. Okay, they've got something instant speed. But there's no creatures and no spells on the stack, which means it's not a removal spell, and it's not a counter spell. What could it be? It could be card draw if they're a hard control deck, or they are rogues. I'm guessing they're rogues. We're going to see an end step flashed in rogue. Soaring Thought Thief. Incoming. Oh, or it could be... Wait, no, there's nothing blue and black that can get March from the Black Gate, right? Unless it's a bounce spell? But who's playing a bounce target non-land permanent spell? Oh, that's a removal spell that you can cast with no creatures on the battlefield. That makes sense. Guess I should have played Automaton first. Alright. We'll swing him with the Automaton. It is now a 2-2. Well, it will be in just a second. Orcish Bowmasters. Let's Painful Bond in response to that. Okay, they enter the battlefield. They kill our Automaton. Fair and square. Oh, but we still amass. So we still get an army. If you don't control an army, create a 0/0. Oh, it doesn't target. It does not target when you amass. I did not know that. Okay, so our opponent might be a ring deck. And if they're a ring deck, we want to save this Masked Vandal. So we are just going to go for the throat, the Orcish Bowmasters now. Opponent considers. Sure. Bowmasters die. So actually our opponent, let's see. No, they did the right play by playing the Bowmasters immediately. Kind of. Yeah, I guess it's the right play. We're going to swing in. If our opponent has Bowmasters, they're going to play their Bowmasters now. Snapcaster. What in the world is in your graveyard? Shelly's Edict? Alright, Shelly Edict me. Or Fatal Push. Fatal Push is cheaper. They'll probably do Fatal Push. Nope, they Edict. Okay. Fine by me, opponent. Opponent sacrifices. Oops, that is a big oop. Oh, opponent, I'm so sorry. The shame scoop. The shame scoop. Oh, I feel so sorry, opponent. I'm so sorry. But also, thank you for the content. Alright, yep, so remember, guys, you don't always immediately click the first mode on Shieldred's Edict. Sometimes you do want them to sacrifice a creature token. On to game 5. Game number 5. Oh, our poor opponent in that last game. Oh no, I'm playing against my mom's lawyer. That's a problem. Oh, for the first time this whole video, Winding Constrictor decides to show its face. Marked from the Black Gate with Winding Constrictor. Nazgul's not looking great without... Nah, this is fine. We need Changelings. Honestly, that's all we need. Once we start playing Changelings, this gets really good really fast. So the question... I think we lead off with Marked from the Black Gate before Constrictor. Because there's a chance our opponent tries to remove the token. Because this looks like, oh, it snowballs unless you remove the army. But in our deck, it just snowballs forever. So I think we lead off with the Black Gate. Best draw in our deck right now is a Swamp or Dual Land. So then we can play Winding Constrictor. Never mind, no. Swamp. I want a Swamp. Soon. Opponent is something Gruul. They're Gruul with Goblin Trap Finders. They're giving me combo vibes, but the combo with Skirk Prospector. They might be like a Grumgully Putrid Goblin, and we just haven't seen the black mana yet. Or they could be the Faceless Traveler thing. Oh wow, they're going for it. Cabaret Revels. That is not a card I was expecting to see here. Okay. My black mana is kind of tied up, so I think I do just run out a single Nazgul here. It's kind of a disappointing one. I'll choose this to be my Ring Bearer. Swing in. I really would like to draw Swamp next turn so that I can Constrictor into March from the Black Gate. I would love to play Constrictor before I play my second Nazgul. Goblin and Archomancer. Is this just Gruul Goblins? This is kind of a sick deck, not gonna lie. And Skirk Prospector and Goblin Trap Finder are their only 1-drops. They use Cabaret Revels to find them, they start sacrificing things to them, Goblin and Archomancer starts giving discounts. I think this deck goes infinite. I think our opponent is a Gruul Skirk Prospector Infinite. Okay, I block. If so, that's super cool. If so, that's super duper cool. Okay, we got a good draw here, because this lets us do something with our Constrictor. Constrictor comes down. Gladewalker is going to put counters on our Constrictor. I'm trying to spread my damage out as much as possible. If our opponent wants to triple block, we can kill their Skirk Prospectors. If they try to kill our Nazgul. So they're probably not going to, yep. Opponent's more concerned about what they're doing than what we're doing. But once we play this other Nazgul, if we draw a Swamp, oh yikes. Okay, opponent, pop off a little bit. Can you combo off? Are we dead this turn? Goblin Instigator. There are no more 1-drops in their deck. So let's see. Their deck contained 2 Goblin Trap Finders, 4 Skirk Prospectors, That's all we know so far. Oh, that's so good. Okay. March from the Black Gate comes down. Alright, we're going to have a big battlefield here. Put some counters on our Guardian Gladewalker. Nazgul comes down. Put some counters on our Wraiths, which is a lot of our creatures right now. Our smallest creature is going to be Winding Constrictor. So we will make it our Ring Bearer. We swing in. We put some, just a couple of counters on things. I'll put one here. I'll put one here. By which I mean I'll put 2 there. I'll put 2 here. I'll put 2 here. Draw a card, discard a card. Ooh, Changeling Outcast. That would have been good. So yeah, that's Winding Constrictor. When your opponent's not interacting, it's pretty good in this deck. I mean, they're kind of interacting by putting up a bunch of blockers, but... Oh, don't tell me they go down to 2. Don't tell me... Oh, I have an idea of what our opponent might be doing. They might be trying to, like, play Muxus. They might be trying to play Muxus multiple times in one turn. Oh no. Runvolt Hordemaster. Okay, now whenever they sacrifice a Goblin, they're also drawing. Should I have left back? No, I shouldn't have left back blockers. Because me attacking is a removal spell right now. Sacrifice a Goblin. Goblin Influx Array, which would pretty much make most of their deck free at this point. Glad they did not hit that. Opponents, I love their deck. Regardless of whether we win or lose, I actually really like what our opponent's doing here. Oh, Goblin Matron. Oh, Goblin Matron, how cool. How do you get any cooler than a Goblin Matron? This is probably going to find a Runvolt Hordemaster, because it's probably a 4 of in there. Oh, Instigator. So probably 4 Goblin Narcomancers, 4 Runvolt Hordemasters, 4 Goblin Instigators, 4 Goblin Matrons, and you just start discounting a bunch of stuff, and then Cabaret Revels, Skirk Prospector, and that gives you like infinite mana. There's the Muxus. Let's go. Opponent. I mean, this is a cool Goblins deck. I've never seen anything like this. They've got the card advantage mixed with the... Oh, wow. We're dead even if we survive this turn. Oh, there's Kranko. There's Kranko. Can they give him haste? They can't give him haste. But they can play him. And playing him will probably tutor up a way to give him haste. Oh gosh. They're gonna start pinging us. This is so cool. This is honestly so cool. Alright, there is a way we could win. If our opponent finds too many Runvolt Hordemasters, we could potentially win by killing our own creature. No. We could, if our opponent's creatures get too big, Winding Constrictor no longer can get blocked by their team. We just need them to punt. We need them to just keep going way too long and not have haste. They need to hit all 4 Runvolt Hordemasters. They maybe only have 1 source of haste in their deck. Okay, that's 3. Oh wait, no. They need to hit all the Runvolt Hordemasters. They gave haste. Alright, we lose. Yep, that'll kill us. That's cool. That's a cool setup. What did they exile here? I'm just trying to learn what their deck is doing. They've got Goblin Matrons. They're going to keep going for some reason. Oh, opponent, just get cocky and keep going and then forget you can't block my Constrictor. If opponent messes around too much and then somehow like gets all their goblins way too big and then leaves me alive as like a ha-ha, we absolutely are going to get them with Winding Constrictor. I'm excited for it. Cabaret Revels. I mean, we're absolutely waiting for our opponent to misplay. That's our goal right now. Hope the opponent misplays. But The fact that they're still playing right now shows they just want to go off. Because they have the lethal line. I have no cards in hand. So the fact that they're still going tells me that they want to show off, which means there's a chance we might get them because they forget that the ring makes our creature unblockable. Potentially. Okay, they make everything big. No, they're not going bigger. Play the Runvelt Hordemaster. Play it. Play it, opponent. Oh, yes. Keep going. Keep going, opponent. Please. Nice. Yes. Okay, they're now all 4/4s. I just need one more. I need one more Lord, opponent. Have Goblin Chieftain in your deck. Goblin Chieftain. That's all I ask. No. Okay, we lose. Good game. Your Muxus is going to die, though, opponent. Get out of here, Muxus. Alright. Well, didn't have enough interaction for this matchup. I mean, you see your opponent playing Goblin and Archomancer, you know you need to remove it. Let's get to the deck wrap-up. A 3-2 record, and I think it's a 4-1 deck. I think this deck could have done better. We got comboed out and didn't draw. I mean, we've only got 6 removal spells in the deck, so I guess maybe that's a deck building fault. But we also lost to the Izzet Phoenix deck that hit all 4 Phoenixes in the top 25 cards of their deck. Well, I guess top 27 because they scried 2 to the bottom. So that was frustrating. But overall, very happy with the deck. We've got, I think, Golem's Bite, Winding Constrictor, potentially some of the 2-drop changelings are some of the first things that I'd cut. And that being said, I think there's space for a mono-black version of this. We'd cut these. We'd cut the green changelings and the Winding Constrictor, probably cut the Painful Bond, and run the 3-drop changeling Faceless Agent, which would tutor up any random creature in our deck when we played it. So it'd be a card draw changeling, which would be nice. I think March from the Black Gate, we saw it do some really cool things, but my experience with March from the Black Gate is it's not actually a good card in this deck unless you have Changeling Outcast. I would rather be going wide in this deck because the Nazgul already makes us go big enough. And so March from the Black Gate making us go even bigger, like it's nice, but it's only really nice if you're using it on Changeling Outcast. So whether you should be running 4 copies of this in the deck, whether the green cards are correct, whether we should be running more removal, I'm not sure. I'd love to see what you guys can come up with, especially because if you're playing this not as an Artisan deck, you're going to want to add 4 copies of Collected Company, just because Nazgul, if you play like turn 1, Changeling Outcast, turn 2, Guardian Gladewalker, or let's say Winding Constrictor, just for the ultimate meme. Turn 3, you play a Nazgul, it turns your Changeling Outcast into a 3/3. Then, if you played a Collected Company, you would turn your Changeling Outcast into a 15/15 on turn 4. If you hit double Nazgul, and you already had the Nazgul from turn 3 and the Winding Constrictor from turn 2, it would be ridiculous. It'd be really funny. Probably not Winding Constrictor in that deck. Anyways, I don't know. Collected Company hits it, so you have more creatures. It's all hard. I'm not sure. But I really enjoy the deck. Perhaps if you guys really enjoyed this, I'll show you the mono black version that leans harder into the tribal theme. It's running things like Undead Augur, which whenever a zombie you control dies, you draw a card. Stuff like that. So it's a bit more of a mid-range one with more removal spells and more weird tribal synergies. So if you guys want to see that, please let me know in the comments. But until then, keep enjoying Budget Magic and have a great week. Bye-bye.